is just my post-reaction thoughts to the series 1899. Not sure if it's coming through this mic or my phone's mic, but hopefully one of the mics is working. So I left reviewing after episode 3 and with a lot of questions and not very much understanding. And after episode 8, I'm left with questions and not very much understanding. I guess I've understood the main premise that Maura and Daniel created a simulation to keep Elliot alive, and while they were in the simulation, Maura's brother took it over and kept it in a loop, which is why Maura had to wake up to stop him. And so now there's some bigger scale questions about, more details about why she had to create a simulation and the relationship with her brother, why that as well. So, and yeah, it's one of those series that reminded me of kind of like bits of The Matrix, of course, with the simulation there, and also Mr. Robot in regards to the complexity and the various kind of levels of understanding that the series poses questions, and then as his questions are kind of being answered, more bigger questions appear that are connected to it, more than, it kind of, the span expands of complexity in the storyline. So yeah, I find more back to reality, travelling through space. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it does continue, if season 2 is renewed, and yeah, I can imagine there'll be maybe potentially more simulations and more kind of high-tech stuff like that, and maybe some space travel storyline as well, perhaps. But yeah, I still stand by my kind of original thoughts about this, with the show not really being my type of show, because it's a plot-driven show at mystery. I find I felt the same with Mr. Robot at the start of Mr. Robot. For those of you who've not watched, then it may not be a good analogy, but at the start, I guess it was more character-driven. It could feel connections to the character, and then as it went down into the complex storyline, it's almost having to explain all the plots and stuff. So it was less character, but more trying to, more about the character interacting with the plot and the complexity of that. And I find it similar to this show, where the plot is the main aspect versus character, which is natural for this type of genre, I think, where there's such a weight in the mystery in the storyline, and that comes kind of first. There was a scene, I think, when Elliot hugs Maura. This was early on, when she kind of still referred to him as the boy, and everyone did, and he wasn't, and I think he talked soon after that, but kind of hugged Maura, and that was a bit of a spark as I watched. I thought, oh, that's intriguing. That's more of the things I'm interested in, and I felt that was like a turning point in the series, of like a huge kind of almost a midway point of all of the mystery, and suddenly that was the first time there were some answers there where I thought, oh, did they know each other? Have they got some, there's some emotions there. So it kind of broke the spell of all of the mystery and the kind of cold feeling the series gave at the start, where it's hard to really yes, you feel very off kilter at the start of lots of characters and storylines, and that was the first kind of time things began to settle a little bit. I did write some questions down, just I thought I could, some of these reactions I could try and do, post-movie reactions. So some of the characters I enjoyed was, most was Mora as being one of the, I guess, the main leads in the series, and I liked her dynamic with Ike, the captain, and I liked Oleg as well, and he was kind of one of the minor characters, but I felt like he could have easily been one of the major characters as well. And yeah, and all of those people on the Kerberos, they're actually in the Prometheus spaceship in the simulation. So I wonder if Mora will wake them up as well. I've got a question here. What didn't I like about the series? I guess perhaps it was just the genre that I didn't really, which is a bit unfair to say because it's not really about the series, more about my opinion, my tastes about the series. But I think as a series itself, I think there's nothing really to not like about it in some ways, because it was kind of fitting to what it was supposed to be. I find a judge series about that, whether I think there was another series I saw, where I just saw the first season. It's a kind of a teen drama series, and it was similar to that. I didn't watch the second season, but I could really appreciate the high level of the series for what it was. Yeah, I found towards the end, I guess it was a bit hard for me to keep up towards the end, as it kind of quickly accelerated the storyline and more things were revealed. It was just, yeah, it was similar to when I watched Mr. Robot a little bit, where at the end, more and more complexities were coming out, and it was a bit harder to keep up with it. I've got a question saying thoughts about soundtrack, and I don't think music was used too much in this series, unless I was just completely blind to it. I think it was more just a lot of it was just the sound effects of the ship, and especially towards the end, the storm that they were in as well. So I'm not sure if I will watch the second season. I may do, but I don't think I'll rush to watch it. I feel like I find with shows that I struggle with, it's hard to begin another season of it. But once I began a season, sometimes I try and see it to the end, just for a bit of completion, and just like season 1 of this show. So I'd imagine there'll be a season 2, and I think when I read the recap, the creators wanted sort of a multi-season renew, so maybe they've got a couple of more seasons of storyline at least in mind. Another question I've got here is, was the ending satisfactory? And I would say yes, because I think it's a show that's not, of course, meant to tie off everything. It's meant to leave you, perhaps wanting more questions, which is the style of this type of genre and show, the mystery. So I feel like I've done a good job of that, of now, okay, we've answered the questions, we've learned it's a simulation, but now what, there's the questions about Mora's brother, what's his role in this? Why is he kind of stuck them in a loop? And what's their history really. And there was an interesting comment that Ike made about Daniel's, when they were in Daniel's memory sort of port in the room with the bed. He was saying, how do you know Daniel's memories are true of what he told you? So I guess they have photographs and things there as well, but who knows what's true. Yeah, so just some thoughts about 1899, and yeah, I'm glad I watched it, because it was something out of my comfort zone, something different, and it feels a little bit like an accomplishment to finish watching something that you may not be fully enjoying, but there's a lot of elements that I can appreciate of it as well. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it's renewed. And I find a show sometimes builds, it kind of evolves so much as series progresses, and there's probably a lot of shows out there that had, you know, that kind of became stronger and stronger as the seasons progress, and not many people probably watched, you know, season 1 or the early episodes, and suddenly it kind of, I think Breaking Bad's an example of that, or a show. And I think some of these sci-fi shows, I think on Netflix, there's been, you know, the element is the conversation about cancellations on shows and things. And I think I remember there's a show called Sense8. It's one of the shows I didn't watch fully. I didn't watch fully, but I think that got cancelled, and then it finally got renewed again. My tripod is falling, so better hold on to it. But yeah, those are my post reaction thoughts of 1899. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to do more of these soon or not. I'll just see how it goes. But I do have some movies and series on my Netflix list. So there's a new series called The Recruit. It's like a CIA sort of story. It's more probably my type of show. But yeah, I'll see if I end up recording any more. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll potentially see you in the next one. Bye.